Found him, got him out of the airport, out of the doctor's office, got him out here to practice. So it's good.
Looks like he was able to kind of go through the whole day, so still kind of in line to have some kind of role Saturday.
Yeah, he went through practice. I mean, he still hasn't, needs to get some fuel in his body. He hasn't eaten all that well. So, we kept checking on him through practice. You want to go through the next phase, and he kept wanting to go through it. So he's going to be pretty tired this afternoon, but tomorrow's a travel day for us, and, it ends up being a little bit of a recovery day. Hopefully he'll get some food into him and, feel much better on Friday.
You think you saw at least glimpses of the guy that you thought you were getting?
Yeah. I mean, you can, it doesn't take you long to see a good player play. It's just like when we got Mauro Rosales and he tried out for us in Florida. I mean, within half an hour of the first practice, we said, okay, this guy can play. And, it's the same thing with Clint. You can tell he can play. You could tell he was a little fatigued. There's maybe a few more runs he would have made or would have done this or that. But thought Seafair was over. Or is that our plane to Canada? Did we miss it? You can obviously tell his quality by his touches and so forth, And I finished off a goal there at the end for his team, so that was good too.
What role do you see him having on this team?
He's going to, obviously play an important role for us, but, he's going to, as I've said before, he's going to be in the attacking part of the field. He's a player who's going to, help orchestrate our game for us, but he's also a player who has the ability to finish. And he's going to be a very vital cog of our game. Our game's going to flow through him to certain aspects, and it's going to be important for him to spread the ball to the Obas and the Eddies and the Nagels and all the other people that are on the field that need the ball at the right time.
Even if you're not quite ready to share it, do you in your head right now have what you think is a sort of first 11 lineup in shape right now if you had to go out and win a cup in 2 weeks?
Well, I think as a coach you always have an idea, of what you're going to do. But you're right, I'm not going to share it. So you got that part of it right. But, it's things you think about. Sometimes what you think's going to work in your head when you put it out there on the field doesn't quite work the way you imagined it. So then you got to tweak it a little bit and change it a little bit. So, it's something that'll take a couple of weeks. I know what lineup we put out if tomorrow was a MLS Cup final and a must-win. But, I'd like better to get 3 to 4 games under our belt, and then we'll have a much better idea of how the whole makeup fits together.
There's some little bit of extra pride seeing that you guys have already sold, 66,500. For Clint's first game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's tremendous. I mean, I think after Clint's signing, they sold like 6,000 tickets right away. So I think that just speaks volumes to what our ownership has done, has stepped up. I think it's a monumental step for the league, and it's great to see our fans respond to that. And I'm sure if we could open up the stadium to 72, we'd have 72. Which would be nice because we'd set a new record. I think the Galaxy, has the 69,000 fan record. So, it'd be nice to sort of break that. But maybe we'll save that for next year. We'll get that one next year.
Kind of neat that there won't be fans rolling back tarps while the game's going on this time as opposed to that Galaxy game in '96.
And that game was a nightmare. Plus, they didn't have enough. Not just rolling back tarps, but they also didn't, getting into the stadium. I think a lot of fans didn't get into the stadium until about the 35-minute mark, just because they expected a crowd of 20, and a crowd of 69 showed up. So they were grossly understaffed. And luckily, I always go to games early. At that point, I wasn't involved in the league, so I was able to get into the game early enough. But there were a lot of people stuck outside.
Do you expect him to step into the leadership role right away?
It's like I said, he's been around, and he's. I remember a coach once saying it this way: he's been around the block, but he hasn't been in this neighborhood yet. And so for him, he's trying to get the feel of the neighborhood as well, and at the right times, and he'll step forward. But the main thing is, what good players do is, and in games at critical moments, they step up and they take charge of the game, and that's what we expect to see from him.
What issues does the U.S. friendly next week present for you with the possibility of losing several players? Is that mulling around in the back of your head right now?
Yeah, I've said to Jurgen, he's making my job harder trying to get into the playoffs if he keeps grabbing players from me. But it is what it is. I'd rather have players of that quality than not have players of that quality. but there's certain sacrifices that you got to make along with that. So once they issue their final lineup or their final roster, we'll know who's going for sure. But you always have an idea. Jurgen and myself spoke this morning. So we're always in communication, so I sort of have an idea what's going on, and but we'll be okay at the end of the day because we have other people who can step in and play, and I think the energy right now within our team is very good.
With you guys heading off tomorrow, can you give us a little bit on the Toronto FC this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Toronto's won their last 2 games, so they're feeling very confident. They've made a lot of changes. So that's something, you can't really look at a game from early in the season and look at a game now because they're so vastly different as a team. But, certain guys have stepped up. Laba, scored a good goal for them last week, against New England. Earnshaw really hasn't been in there lately. Eckersley has done well for them in the back. They've, and solidified the back line with Caldwell, moving in as one of the center backs. That's been a big plus for them. But it's a team that, plays a pretty standard 4-4-2. They work pretty hard. They're reasonably direct in their approach and their style of play. And they're not an easy, even though they haven't gotten a lot of wins, they're not an easy team to beat because they're the kind of team that just makes the game a little difficult. They take the tempo out of the game a little bit because of the way they play in terms of their directness. So it's sometimes hard to get a flow, when you're playing against them. But right now they're feeling good about themselves. They got 2 wins in a row, so it's an opponent that we have to be very careful of.
What's the goalkeeping situation look like?
Michael felt fine after yesterday, so went through training today. Feels good today. Marcus is good as well. So we think we're going to have the full complement of goalkeepers to pick from for this weekend.
What does this team need to do to get back to their road success they've had historically?
Win. Is that an easy answer? Just got to go out there with the same approach. We've always gone out with the approach on the road that we're going to win the game. We haven't gone out and saying, okay, when we're at home, we're going to play like this, and when we're on the road, we're going to pack it in. We're going to play more defensive. We're going to drop into a shell. That's never been our approach. Our approach has been we're going to come and play. And so we got to go out there, we got to come and play and then have some good fortune along the way for us as well. We've already gotten some big road victories, and some good wins. The win in Kansas City obviously was a very good one for us, but we just now need to parlay that, and we don't have to play San Jose anymore on the road, which seems to be a real struggle for us. So hopefully the other teams will be a little more accommodating.
Seems like a lot of people around the league want to know what Jurgen thinks about the move. Is there anything from that conversation that you can pass along?
Nothing that I can pass along. That's a question for Jurgen, and I'm sure when he gets asked that question, he'll be able to answer it appropriately.
I'm Kyle Beckerman.
I'm Landon Donovan.
I'm Dwayne DiRosario.
We love soccer. We train hard, we play hard, and we support with passion.
When it comes to discrimination, we don't cross the line.
No bullying, no racism, no sexism, no homophobia. No excuses, no exceptions.
Don't cross the line. If you're playing, training, supporting, or coaching, don't cross the line.